every team in the media's preseason pick season isn't off on the right foot. Now this is crazy to talk about how the Chiefs season isn't off on the right foot after winning. But with the amount of turnovers they've had, it's 14 on the year. And coming off a game where they had 3 against the Washington football team, it still isn't perfect. It still isn't up to the standard of what the Chiefs have put on for the past few years. Mahomes' INT yesterday was ill-advised, crazy, and it was just awful. He drops back, he drops the snap first, then he looks to Kelce in the middle field, doesn't have grip on the ball, lets it go, and it's picked up by the Washington football team. His other pick is off of Hill's drop, which is Hill just goes to catch it, drops it, Kendall Fuller picks it off, and that's 10 points left on the board. The drops and fumbles are awful. Hardman had one. Kelce almost had one. Marcus Kemp early in the season had one. And it's just been Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a fumble. Mahomes had another interception where it's kind of like that. And it's just been these crazy turnovers that shouldn't be happening, that if the Chiefs do what their responsibility, those turnovers don't happen. And it's, you have turnovers like what happened against the Bills, where the DN Gregory Rousseau from Miami makes a great play, but then you have turnovers where Clyde Edwards-Helaire just fumbles it, Hill just drops it, Marcus Kemp just drops it, and it's those turnovers that frustrate you as a fan and someone a part of Chiefs Kingdom or a part of the Chiefs that should frustrate you. Jody Fortson's injury, it's very sad. He tore his Achilles. He was up and coming. He's having a great season. Hopefully he'll get back to it in a year or so, and hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Prayers up for him, and hopefully he comes back to where he was, because he was balling out this year. Washington football team, they're a good team, but they were hurt yesterday. Their guard was out, their tackle was out, their number 2 receiver was out, their quarterback was out, their running back got hurt during the game, and they were just depleted on the offensive side. And the Chiefs took advantage of that, only allowing 13 points. But it's something that as a team, those top teams in the NFL, they're not as beat up, and you're gonna have to play the teams in the playoffs, and whether you have injuries, whether they have injuries, you're gonna have to beat them. And it was a good win that they were able to come out convincingly and make sure there was distance between the two, so that was positive. But just to acknowledge the fact that Washington was injured. The Chiefs have some things that they can be happy about, though. Their TD percentage was something very positive this year. They're getting players back, which is finally happening. Chris Jones is hopefully coming back, and Tre'Davious Ward, after being kind of close by Andy Reid, what he's saying over the past 2 weeks. You have Mahomes' turnovers. They're frustrating, but there's something that's not going to happen, so you can be optimistic about the changes coming from that, and Mahomes getting better as he has each and every year with his efficiency up until this one. And hopefully throughout the season he'll make the growth to where he was supposed to be this year. The defense, as bad as it's been, one of the sad parts is the sacks allowed. It only has 7 sacks, which means it's not getting great pressure on the defense. Obviously, Daniel Sorensen's at the lineup, so they had a much better game this past week. And Willie Gay coming back also really helped them. Their points allowed, if you take away the drives after turnovers and special teams, they're only allowing 21.5. Now, that's kind of misleading, because obviously the team's spending more time out on the field, so obviously it may not be the drive of the turnover, but the next one they allow the points or something like that. But as long as a kickoff or punt happened by the Chiefs offense the previous drive, or just to start off a half, they're only allowing 21.5 points, which would put them at 10th in the league, which is crazy to say, with the Chiefs actually being 28th in the league as of right now. The Chiefs defense has actually gotten 6 turnovers and a touchdown, which isn't outstanding or crazy, but it's still something that it should be looked at as a positive. The sacks, that's something poor, but one thing that you can look at is Whitney Merciless. He's a free agent. He could come in and be the Terrell Suggs of that Super Bowl year, and hopefully come in on third downs in those key moments where you need that sack, and just go rush the quarterback with Frank Clark, Chris Jones, and another D tackle in Tershawn Wharton or Jerron Reed on those pass downs. The outlook for me is finishing every play, just making sure we handle our responsibility and taking it one game at a time, with this next game being against the Tennessee Titans. As long as the Chiefs do that, I think they can have a very successful season and bounce back from this poor start, although, you're only one game out of the AFC West title, and, there's some positive that the league hasn't been where it has been over the past few years, where they're scoring and they're winning, and teams are undefeated through a long time. Only one team is undefeated so far, so that's a positive for the Chiefs. But the Chiefs just need to take it one game at a time, beat the Titans this next Sunday, and then go from there. So that is my outlook for the Chiefs after 6 weeks.